Welcome in. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hopefully you all are doing well. Hopefully you're having a good week. We are here to talk, Nathan, what's up? NFL, college football, a little baseball too. Honestly, pretty crazy comeback from the Cleveland Guardians. I know I talked trash about them quite a bit on this stream, but I mean, this is like the craziest comeback ever. I don't know if there's ever been a divisional comeback in the MLB as large and as quickly as this. Down 12 games like less than a month ago, and they've come back and now they own the tiebreaker, tied for first. They obviously play the Tigers again tonight. So little baseball talk. Going to do a first look at college and a first look at the NFL. I already see some spots that I really like this week. We also have Ryder Cup, so we'll talk Ryder Cup a little bit too. I want to get some bets out for that. I took some bets for that, so we can talk Ryder Cup as well. If you guys have any Ryder Cup bets you like, drop in the chat. I'll go through the stuff that I like, and we'll kind of talk about that. I know like we haven't talked golf on the stream in a minute, but had a my best season ever betting golf over the summer. We had a very, very good golf year. So definitely going to run it back for some Ryder Cup plays. And the Ryder Cup is just fun in general. Really like good sports weekend. We've got a great college football slate. We got the last couple days of MLB. Those races for playoffs are heating up on top of the college football, on top of the NFL. And then we got the Ryder Cup going on. It's going to be a sick weekend. So let's talk about it. I also have the Survivor pool data space pulled up. So if you watched the stream on Sunday, you know I told you guys I had 2 entries alive in my main Survivor pool, and I split them, one Atlanta, one Seattle. Of course, Atlanta, just complete disaster. So I'm down to 1 entry alive in my main pool. Earlier in the week, last week, I was just going to go all in on Seattle, but I just don't ever, use the same team on 2. And I clearly picked wrong on the other side going with the Falcons. That was a disaster, but I have 1 entry alive. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Also was doing the touchdown survivor over on Splash Sports. And that one started with around 1,700 people. Let me double check this. Let's see. So, yeah, it started with 1,667 people. It's down to 463. So a large number of the touchdown survivor has been eliminated. So hopefully we can, move on again in that and see where it is after this week. My main survivor pool was 10,000 people. It's down to 6,967. All right. So for Survivor this week, does anyone have any leans? I mean, I think Buffalo is like the clear, anyone that hasn't used Buffalo at home, 16-point favorites or whatever they are over the Saints. I think that's a pretty clear one. Lions over the Browns at home isn't the worst, I don't think. Browns defense is very good and keeps them in games, but I don't really know, I don't know if the Browns can score with the Lions in Detroit, honestly. Are we locking in Chargers -6.5? When I pull up the NFL first look odds, I'll talk about it. It is a good spot for them, Guru. Typically we like to bet against these young quarterbacks making their first start. They have pretty bad numbers historically, so I don't think it's the worst spot for the Chargers. The only thing that's concerning, it's like road game, early start time, like cross-country travel. for an early game. That's a little bit concerning, but it's definitely a good spot for them. Jesse Minter probably going to have Jackson Dart in hell to start that game. So maybe a Chargers first half look could be good. But again, maybe they start slow with the cross-country travel. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to figure out, but definitely lean the Chargers side of that game. Yeah, Nathan, Green Bay against Dallas. I don't hate that. It's on the road, but man, no CD. Green Bay, on top of the whole Micah Parsons returning to Dallas thing, it's like coming off that loss against the Browns. Yeah, I definitely think Green Bay is firmly in the mix and the conversation for this week. I would say Buffalo and Green Bay. That's probably my two favorite. If you want to get real, I don't know, what I was gonna say. You could throw Denver at home against the Bengals. You could throw that in the conversation too. It's probably those three. This Jets-Dolphins game Monday night is very interesting. What do you guys think? Could we go Jets team total over? Do they have the odds for that yet? $21.5. Jets team total is 21.5 against the Miami Dolphins defense. I feel like we might have to bet that. Is it 21.5 everywhere is my question. Let's see. That might be my main bet on Monday. The Dolphins defense is just so bad. I understand it's the Jets, but I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Let's see. Let's go here. I see a 20.5 on DraftKings. That makes me feel better. So FanDuel's got it at 21.5. It looks like it's 20.5 everywhere else. And I like that better, below the key number there. You could just 3 touchdowns would cash it for you. I don't know. Jets team total over Monday night. That might be the play. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, I think Packers, Cowboys, Broncos are probably the early looks for me for Survivor. Buffalo, not Packers, Cowboys. Bills, Packers against the Cowboys, and then Broncos. Kind of tough to not use the Bills, but I understand anyone wanting to save them. You could make that case. All right. Ryder Cup. So for the Ryder Cup, I'm going to be taking I've said this all summer. If you watch the streams a lot, I'm sure we've off color talked about it at some point, even though we weren't talking distinctly about the Ryder Cup, but I like Europe. I just like their team better. Now the USA, typically in recent years, in recent Ryder Cups, I think the last 10, the home team has been, winning at a very, very high clip. I think 9 of the last 10, 8 of the last 10, something along those lines. Home turf is a big, big advantage, but I do think the USA is minus 145 at home. I think if this were in Europe and Europe was at home, I think Europe would be minus 200 or higher. So I do think Europe has the better team. So how I'm going to play it is FanDuel has a boost 50% to lift the trophy. And that would take Europe from plus 124 up to over plus 200. So I'm going to take Europe to lift the trophy with the FanDuel boost. So how to lift the trophy works is if there's a tie in the Ryder Cup in the points, then the team that won previously wins. So Europe having won the last Ryder Cup, if there's a tie, Europe will win and lift the trophy. So that's why if you look at the main free market, you have USA minus 145, Europe plus 165, and then a tie is 10-1. Just to lift the trophy, Europe, that's giving you Europe to win or tie, basically. So I'm going to boost that up and take Europe in that market. I also my favorite, that's like a smaller play because we're using a boost. My favorite play overall is Victor Hovland, 2+ points. So on FanDuel, this is, let me see. 2+ points for Victor Hovland on FanDuel's -130. You can get the same bet on DraftKings at -110. So bet this on DraftKings if you're tailing. Victor Hovland played fantastic down the stretch of the golf season. He played fantastic in the Ryder Cup, in the last Ryder Cup, and he's going to be playing a lot. I don't really see him getting much time off. I think he's going to be a horse for Europe. I think he's going to play pretty much every round. So Victor Hovland, 2 or more points, -110 on DraftKings. That's my favorite bet overall for the Ryder Cup. And then we've got the smaller play on Europe to lift the trophy. And then I'm going to take smaller plays. I want to lean into some Cam Young stuff here. So if you wanted to take, it's kind of like weird. You could take him 2+ points if you want. You could take him, top USA. So FanDuel has him for USA top point scorer. FanDuel has him 9-1. He's 12-1 on DraftKings. So I put that in on DraftKings. And then for top US wild card, he's +300 on FanDuel. He's +360 in that market on DraftKings. So I took Cam Young for top US wild card point scorer. And I also took him for top overall USA point scorer. Really, really good course fit for Cam Young here. And outside of Scotty, honestly, I trust Cam Young like as much as anyone on this USA roster, especially with how, Xander and like Colin and some of those guys, JT played down the stretch of the regular golf season. I think Cam Young is right in the mix for them as like their best golfer right now, and really, really strong course fit at Bethpage for Cam Young. So Cam Young, top USA point scorer, top USA wildcard point scorer. Sprinkled on those, Europe to lift the trophy with the boost, and then my favorite overall play, Victor Hovland, 2 or more points, -110 on DraftKings. Yeah, Nathan, that's why I didn't even we won the Matthew Golden yards and the 50+. So I made money because my biggest play obviously was on the just the main yards line, but I didn't even tweet about it because I was just mad. I was watching that game like live, and I got so excited. I saw, he caught it, and then he just went out of bounds for no reason. I don't understand why he did that. Easily should have got another 30 yards on that. If he doesn't score, it should have been at least another 30 yards. Have no idea why he did that. So I just chose to erase that from my memory. Tyler, could you answer a fantasy football question? Of course I could. Drop it in the chat. All right, that does it for Ryder Cup. That does it for Survivor stuff. I'm going to pull up the lines. So I'm going to pull up unabated, and we'll do an early look here at some stuff. NFL DFS first look video. If you guys are playing NFL DFS this weekend, that's out on the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go check that out. Hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, all that good stuff. Would you trade Swift, ETN, and Waddle for Lamb PPR? Swift, ETN, and Waddle. Tyler, I don't know your team situation, but I would probably say no, because my typical rule of thumb, how I handle this stuff is I don't, when we get close to the season, I don't draft injured players. And once we get into the season, I don't trade for injured players. So could CeeDee Lamb come back and, do CeeDee Lamb things? For sure. It's probably the most likely outcome. But you also are opening the possibility that Dallas does what Dallas did last year, where they completely just bottom out as a team. And, they'll just shut CeeDee. Like maybe he comes back and re-injures it and they just shut him down because they stink and they have no chance of getting in the playoffs anyways. So there is like a small, it's not a likely outcome, but it is in the tank. Like there's potential for that. So as much as I love CeeDee Lamb and I loved him as a draft pick this year, Now that we're dealing with the ankle injury, um, I wouldn't look to acquire him. I would just sit it out personally. Like the the Swift, ETN, Waddle for him, like that's more than fair. Like I definitely would rather have CD than those guys, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go trade for CD unless your team is like really in the basement and you need to like take the chance. Yeah, Genty and Chase Brown. I'm not worried about Chase Brown yet. He has not been efficient, but he really never has been. And typically when I draft guys season long and when I'm really in on guys, I don't ever take like the inefficient players that are super reliant on volume. That's just not my MO. Anyone that follows me knows like I don't really ever kind of stake my claim on those guys. But this year with Chase Brown was different just because I was so bullish on the Bengals offense as a whole. Obviously, that takes a huge step back with Joe Burrow, unfortunately, getting injured. But I think we just ride it out. Like, you're not going to get anything worth like trading him for at this point because he hasn't done anything. Jake Browning, the last time we saw him start in 2023, the running backs did well with him in more so than the receivers. So I know that was like a nightmare spot. Jake Browning on the road, first start of the year. Brian Flores just had them in complete hell, shackles and chains. I don't think that will be the case every week. Now, again, it's another tough spot for them. They're on the road in Denver this week, but I still think Chase Brown can be okay. Genty, same thing. Like, man, super. Like, I personally underrated how bad their offensive line was. Most definitely. I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it could be this bad to where, he literally can't get past the line of scrimmage when they hand him the ball. But again, they've had some tough spots too. Obviously, Genty, really, really good spot this week against Chicago. Like, the time is now for Ashton Genty. Really, really strong spot for him this week. Then they play Indy, Tennessee, KC, Jacksonville, Denver, Dallas, Cleveland. Not an easy schedule by any stretch. But once you get closer to the end of the season, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like that Dallas game could be good, but I want to see how he looks this week and kind of go from there. But at this point, we kind of got to ride it out because you're not going to get anything in trade value like worth close to what you spent on him, unfortunately. But yeah, just disaster situation for Chase Brown with the Burrow injury. Really unfortunate. All right, let me pull unabated up, and we'll go from there. So I told you there's some spots I like early on the board. First and foremost, this will probably be my biggest bet of the NFL season thus far, and that will be Minnesota on the money line here against Pittsburgh. I think it's in London. Let me double check that. I know Minnesota has back-to-back Europe games. Oh no, this one's in Ireland, and then I think the next week is in London. Maybe I knew it was one or the other. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So I had it flipped around. I thought it was London this week, Ireland next week. It is Ireland this week, London next week. Regardless, this game's in Ireland. Vikings, Steelers. Love the Vikings on first look here. First of all, I don't think the Steelers are any good. Bet against them last week. The New England Patriots had no interest in winning a football game. Drake May, end zone pick. Ramondre Stevenson fumbles on the goal line. They fumbled 2 other times. They had 5 total turnovers. Steelers still barely won the game. Everyone was crowning the Steelers because they beat the Jets in week 1. Don't think that really is, doing anything for me. And then, they lost to the Seahawks at home, who the Seahawks have a very, very good defense, but I'm not even sold on Seattle personally. So, and honestly, I don't think Aaron Rodgers has played very good either. So I'm totally down to sell this Steelers team. They're overseas, Minnesota. Brian Flores could do what Brian Flores does and just completely put this Steelers offense in a blender. Minnesota, honestly, like quarterback upgrade right now. Like JJ McCarthy was starting slow, youngest quarterback in the NFL, not surprising. But Carson Wentz is that veteran presence. Like you don't need to do much in Kevin O'Connell's offense if you're a veteran. Like you just have to run his offense and don't turn the ball over, and you're going to be in a good spot. So I really like the Vikings in this one over the Steelers. Probably my biggest play of the year thus far is going to be on Vikings money line. And I love that it's 9:30 in the morning, overseas game. Like that'll just set the tone. By the time that we get on stream at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, the Vikings hopefully are up like 2 touchdowns, and it's just a great start to the day. Set the tone for our Sunday with the Minnesota Vikings. Other stuff that like just sticks out before I fully dive in this week on research. I talked about Rams over the Colts. There's a good trend of fading teams in week 4 that are 3-0 against the spread. That is a trend. I don't, weigh trendy stuff super heavily, but I know there is a positive trend on the fading the 3-0 ATS teams. Colts obviously 3-0 against the spread, and they've done it in big fashion because they completely dominated the Titans, and they completely dominated the Dolphins in week 1. Bigger than week 5 versus Browns. Yeah, I mean, just like that's my biggest. It's going to be my biggest bet I've made thus far. I'll probably go pretty heavy on the Vikings over the Browns in that spot, but the books kind of know that, I feel like. So I don't know what the line. I don't know if there's like a look ahead line out there or what it is right now. I haven't checked, but up to right now, Vikings this week will be the biggest bet I've put in for the NFL season. Nothing else like really sticks out in terms of sides. I think Chicago Vegas is going to be a shootout. The total's like 47.5. I like Packers over Dallas. Honestly, I like the Saints to cover. Again, just like too many points. I know they suck, but I mean, when you're getting like 16, it's down to like 15.5. So I don't know. I kind of like Saints to cover. Like they can lose by 2 touchdowns and cover this game. It's just a lot of points. As far as college, there's one game tomorrow, East Carolina and Army. I haven't bet this. I would lean East Carolina side, but I'm probably not going to bet college when there's NFL on. So pass on that game. Friday night, I kind of like TCU over Arizona State. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but I like this TCU team. I mean, we bet them week 1 over UNC. I bet them. I had them last week too in a parlay, I think. I can't remember fully, but I kind of like this TCU team. So kind of considering them for Friday night, maybe. Like maybe we go with an underdog on Friday night. And then on the weekend, Saturday, there's tons of huge games this week, college. This is a sick college slate. There's a couple I like. I kind of like Ole Miss over LSU. So I know we tried to fade Brian Kelly week 1. It didn't work out. But knowing what we know now, like we never would have bet Clemson in that game. Like at the time, that looked like a really, really impressive win for LSU. But now it doesn't look like an impressive win because they barely won, and Clemson is just completely terrible. So, at right after the game, that looked super impressive for LSU. Now it doesn't look very good. LSU looked super impressive that they beat Florida at the time. Again, now it doesn't really look that good, that being it was a close game. So LSU likes to get in these close games. We know this. This is what Brian Kelly does. He can't help himself. They love to play in these close games, and it burns them. I don't even like this Ole Miss team, but I think the fact that Ole Miss is slight favorites is like a little bit telling. Because I don't think this LSU team is as good as we thought they were going to be after they beat Clemson, because in retrospect, they should have beat Clemson by much more. And that was like without Antonio. Like Antonio Williams got hurt on basically the first drive of that game, and LSU still barely won. So I kind of like Ole Miss over LSU early look this week. And then I really, really like Air Force -6.5. I would want to grab this before I think there's a good chance it moves to 7. So I would want to grab this 6.5 with Air Force before it does. Just really strong spot for them. They made a quarterback change in their last game. Let me pull up the stats here. So if we look at like early on in the season here, they were, let's see, lost to Utah State, right? And then they kind of went full in with this new QB. They were playing this Josh Johnson kid earlier in the season. Last week against Boise, they went full in on Liam Zarka. He threw for 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He ran for 110 and a touchdown. I like him. He looked pretty good. Going on the road against Boise. Was that game at home? No, that game was at home. Still, scoring 37 points against Boise is impressive. Hawaii is absolutely terrible. They're just not good. And on top of that, they never play good on the road. Hawaii, especially like when you get Hawaii off the island, they just never play good. We faded Hawaii off the island. I think that was week 2. We took Arizona over them. Arizona completely dog walked them up and down the field like it was no problem. I don't think Air Force is on the level of Arizona, but I don't think Hawaii is going to be able to stop this offense, especially on the ground, and they're at home. So I'll take them under a touchdown and just hope that the offense like really gets cooking. So I like Air Force this week early look. I like Ole Miss this week early look. I'll have to dive into some of the other games. There's a ton of other big games. Oh, Alabama, Georgia. I kind of like Alabama early look if you can get 3. I saw 2.5 on FanDuel. There's a 3 on DraftKings still. This might hold at 3. I'm not going to lie. Like this FanDuel might move back to 3. I'm not sure. But a 3.5 on ESPN Bet that's -130. I don't know. I kind of like Alabama. First of all, I don't like either of these teams this year. I don't think either of these quarterbacks are very good. But if you had me rank out Simpson versus Stockton, I think I would take Simpson. If you had me rank out Kirby versus DeBoer, I would take Kirby. But Georgia has not been as intimidating in these spots as they were, a few years ago. I don't know. I might not bet the game at all, but I kind of liked Alabama getting a field goal. Thoughts on FSU UVA? I'm a little worried. Yeah, it's definitely a look ahead spot, Nathan. I think Florida State should win. Like maybe it's a close game late, but Florida State should win even with the look ahead spot. I feel like I probably will not bet that game. I think for Friday night, we look at TCU. We take an underdog Friday night. We've bet some favorites the last few Friday nights. Oh, wait, no, we bet Rutgers last Friday night. Oh, my God. Don't even get me started. That Rutgers game, that like set the tone for everything, dude. That disaster of a Rutgers game. I totally forgot about that. My God. Just completely terrible performance right there. Ethan Kaliak-Manis, there is no college football player that owes me more money than that guy. That guy has owed me money since like the start of last year. That guy just owes me money. All right. Overall, that does it for today. I'm taking a baseball bet tonight. Moneyline parlay. This is so square, and I don't care. Guardians, Yankees, moneyline parlay tonight, +110. I'm hitting that. I'll be live tomorrow, 4 p.m. We will talk. I might start up a little early tomorrow, and we will talk Thursday night football. Obviously, big game tomorrow night, Cardinals Seahawks, and then Steve's going to come on. We also have another guest coming on tomorrow too, so we will bring them on tomorrow. And then Friday we'll do, bigger college preview, talk about everything. Sunday morning stream. Lots of streams the rest of the week. Go watch the NFL video on the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like that and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Good luck tonight if you're betting on anything, playing DFS, all that good stuff. And I will see everybody tomorrow at 4 o'clock.